Okay, you ready? Yeah. What's groovy, y'all? I'm Donye.
And I'm Marcia, and it's the
Hey Sissy Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Hey Sissy Podcast. As you can see, we have a Zoom guest with us. Joining us today is my online homie. I've never met him in real life, but we met through Kevin on Stage's Patreon and Discord. This is Carl Liggins. I've never had to say
Yes. Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, Carl Liggins. So yeah, Carl and I are both moderators on Kev's Discord, and so that's how we met. And if you listened, I was on his podcast a few weeks ago, and now he's come on our podcast to talk with us today. Carl, before we get into the topic at hand, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello. I was gonna try to coin a phrase for your listeners. I was like, I can't think of anything that sounds good. So hi, my name is Carl Liggins. I am 35 years old, married, have one son, Daniel. He's named after my oldest nephew, whose birthday would be at the end of this month. He would have been 25 this year. He passed away. He had cerebral palsy. And so when he was born, I was like, I wanted to name him after him. There's not really much about me. Live in St. Louis. As Marcia said, I have my own podcast that I also produce from Anchor. And, I just try to talk about politics or different things that I find interesting to try to give, I guess, what my take would be on it, or just review or something, just whatever it is that comes to mind that I want to talk about. I literally title some of the episodes Random Thoughts, because it's like I can't think of a title, and it's just like, this is just stream of consciousness. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
And your podcast is called?
My podcast is called Bold Expressions. I thought that would be easy to get the name for different things, but you are surprised how many things are called Bold Expressions. Mm-hmm. I was low-key upset. I thought I was being original. So yeah.
I understand that struggle with naming our podcast. We even had to do a poll on Instagram to kind of decide what name everybody would like for our podcast.
Mm-hmm. And the name I wanted won.
It did.
Brat.
All right, so our topic today is we're going to talk to Carl about what it's like to raise a son on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah, so first question off the bat is, when was Daniel diagnosed with autism?
It's kind of tough, because trying to think back, initially he was in, I want to say like 1 or 1.5. He was going to St. Louis Community College Early Childhood Center. We were staying with my mom at the time because she was pregnant. She wasn't working. I was working at Walmart, and so the place we were staying at had gone up in rent, and it would have been too much for me to try to pay rent and everything by myself, especially with how the rent was. And so we moved back in with my mom. Thank God, who had enough space for all of us. So he was going there, and we noticed some things were kind of off. Well, not off. You know how, well, it's a thing where they'll have signs up and they say, like, at this age, the kids be doing this. And I noticed he wasn't doing some of those things. There he had his two main teachers in his room had brought us in one day and was like, they both have sons on the spectrum. And they told us that they thought that he might have been, initially my wife wasn't happy with it. I wasn't really sure how to feel about it, because it kind of throws everything that you thought was going to go with you raising a kid out the window, because people I didn't really understand what autism was. If you look at autism in the movies, all they say is that they're good at math. It's like you don't really, have a good idea of what to think. So they told him, they told us about it, and it was just like, it kind of clicked with a lot of stuff they were saying. And so I want to say some few months after that, we went to St. Mercy Hospital. And what's his name? Dr. Altman, who I believe is now in Chicago. He did a test and they diagnosed him with they diagnosed him with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, which they recently changed to that because they changed it to a spectrum because the hands can't be on the screen because it ranges so wide. There's so many people like one of our other Discord buddies, her son is autistic, and he is different from where Daniel is. There's different levels, and it's just difficult sometimes thinking about it.
Yeah. So then I guess when you took him to St. Mercy's, did they give like an official like where he was on the spectrum?
Yes, at the time I believe they did. What did he say? He is, I want to say moderate. Can you guys hear that?
It's okay.
Okay, because I'm like, what are they doing? I'm at my mom's house, so I'm just like, she's watching him while I'm doing this. Okay, Jesus. So he is, I don't know how to put it. He can do different things. He's very intelligent. He can figure things out. He pays attention to stuff. He knows his snacks. He knows different things he wants. It's like, okay, I know you need this, and this. However, certain like fine motor skills he can't do. So he just recently learned how to wave. It's like he can do tablet, he can do all that stuff, but just getting in his mind is like, okay, wave for somebody, to say bye, and it's also still a thing of making sure that he waves at them. He's saying certain words now, which it's weird because there's some words that he was saying when he was younger. He got sick real bad one year, and then it seems like those words were just gone. He is 6. He just turned 6 in April. It is the biggest thing is because one of the things the doctor said was, you don't know how it's going to go. It's like some people will need help for the rest of their lives. Some people will eventually grow to where they can take care of themselves, which my wife loves watching content with autistic people. Like she's watching this autistic dating show on Netflix where it's like they're like grown people and they're in the UK and they're talking about, and they're, just trying to find companionship and different things. And their mannerism is off. And it's like, I can see my son in each one of these people. Because they're kind of very blunt. And like the kind of social things, it's like, it seems like they're kind of blushing. They're like force of habit. And that's how he is. He's very sweet, but certain cues he doesn't pick up on, at least with me. With my wife, it's like she said there has been times where she's been kind of sad or something, and he'll come over and hug her or whatever. But at the same time, he doesn't really understand when he's being too pushy. So, like my biggest fear is that he will need us for the rest of his life, or he will need us, and I will not have prepared him for life without me around. So Yeah.
All right, so I do have my own kind of personal question, but
Sure.
okay. So
No, this was you.
okay, so my personal question is I know sometimes when it comes to maybe children with maybe a disability or autism and such, that you got to pay attention to the language that you kind of use. So how did your language kind of have to change when like describing your son or talking to someone else about it and things of that sort? How did that kind of shift?
Good question.
Oh, like, you said describing him to somebody else?
Yeah, or like talking about it, like how did your language have to change? Because I noticed when you said he was off, but you didn't really want to put it that way.
Yeah.
So how did your language change?
That's a good question. Initially, you try to figure it out because, as I said before, a lot of people don't really. It's like you hear autistic, but you don't really know. Like when somebody says like somebody has Down syndrome, you're like, okay, I know of it, but I don't really know what that means. And especially describing it to our parents, because older Black people, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. He's just he's just whatever. It's just like, no, there's and and that is a good thing. Stop saying that there's something wrong with him. To try to, it's like, no, he's just different. His brain is wired differently than ours is, and he interprets information different. As I said, some things he'll catch fast, some things he'll catch a little slower. So explaining to our parents and actually other children, trying to explain it in a way that they understand. Because if he'll want to play with them, and they'll be like, oh, they'll be talking to him, and he'll, he can, mumble, he can make sounds or whatever, and they're just like, why isn't he talking? It's just like, I'm like, oh, he just doesn't talk, and that's kind of how I explain it to like little kids. It's like, well, he just doesn't talk. It's like, oh, he just wants to do this. He doesn't really, understand like that. But yeah, for adults, we just kind of do a mini breakdown of he's autistic, he can speak, he can do this, and this. He's smart, but he's an a-hole. So try to put it like that. So yeah. So yeah, we try to explain it like that. And like I said, try to change the wording from something's wrong with him, like I said, to something different. Because one thing that I've had to get myself from doing is forgetting that, yeah, he is, he's still 6. So there's a lot of things that he's saying that he's doing now that we're just like, oh yeah, he got that from me. Like recently he's been like, whoa, because I was doing something and I said that, and then you just hear him. I think I was upstairs in the room. Something happened. I said, whoa. And I hear him in the living room, my mom, whoa. It's like, so he's still paying attention.
Yeah.
So I want to, as Marcia knows, I'm a little self-deprecating. So I make sure whenever I talk about him, whether he's in immediate earshot or not, I don't use any disparaging words so he doesn't think that there's something wrong with him. So that he knows that so that he knows that he's I can see the whole of you. I can see you doing
I
that. So that he knows that, that he's, that there's nothing wrong with him, that he's loved and all that stuff, and that, different things like that. So.
Okay, so after y'all found out, that he was on the spectrum, and you went to the doctor, did you all seek any services immediately or later on to like help him with his motor skills and speech or anything?
Yeah. My wife is really a superstar in that aspect, as she looked up so much. We got involved with ABA therapy, which there's, oh my God, there are so many freaking just acronyms involved and all this stuff. I'm like, Jesus. Uh, uh, I can't even think what ABA means at the moment. Autism, behavioral something, but it's ABA therapy. We were also, thankfully, Missouri has a lot of programs. There was also something called First Steps, which started. A lot of this was also good because they would come to your house to do therapy. So what was it? We had First Steps, ABA, Parents as Teachers. Hold up. Yeah, Parents as Teachers. And currently we are with St. Louis ARC. I actually interviewed the lady who we go through with ARC a couple times. But yeah, we got a lot of things through that, a couple of grants to help pay for different things that he needs. Like a swing, we have a trampoline in the basement for him. And just certain things, but like so many government things, there's a lot of red tape. At one point they were like, okay, so what you're gonna do is like, you got the grant, you got the money, it's gonna take a minute. So what you do, you pay for this stuff and then we'll reimburse you. And I'm like, if I had the money to pay for it, I wouldn't need y'all's money. So, but yeah, there's, thank God, so many services and so many wonderful people who help and who had just been with him for some years and just helped out, which I commend all the women who've done it, who helped him, who helped us and educated us on it. I don't think he would be where he is now if he didn't have those people, and they have helped so many other people. And it's just like, regular teaching. It is something that is grossly underfunded and understaffed, and it's just, they want to do more, but there's only so much they can do, especially now with Rona, because I know with ARC, it has something called parent cafes, which it would be every few months. They have a thing to where the parents come, they drop off the kids at wherever we're meeting at. They have some people play with the kids, have the kids play with each other, and everybody's kid is either autistic or they have some kind of other disability and different things. And it's just a chance for the parents to unwind and talk to other adults, because having a kid with autism or different things, there's only so much you can do sometimes, so many things you can go. I've gotten to the point where I hate taking him to the store because he'll try to fight to get out the cart, and he's kind of into the thing to where he doesn't understand danger. Like, I think I was in the chat one night with y'all to where he tried to run out the door of the hospital into the street, and thankfully the door was locked.
All kids. My nephew did that to me. My sister, he ran straight out of Kroger's, like out the double doors. Like, where were you going, sir?
He did that. He did that to me at Walmart. He was like walking ahead of me. He had some toy. He had some playset, and I don't know. I saw the moment it clicked to him because he was walking. He looked back and then he just ran. I'm like, where? I'm like, boy.
All kids,
yeah.
Runners.
Yeah.
You look like you need to run today.
It's like, no, I can't do this. I'm getting too old to try to chase you down.
So the next question is, what is the
biggest struggle with having a child on the autism spectrum?
Whew, the biggest struggle. Huh. I know one struggle my wife and I currently, well, yeah, have to where we talk about it is remembering where the autism ends and, like I said before, the a-hole begins. It's like, okay, what's autism and what's Daniel? Um, because a lot of things, like I said, like impulse control is one of the things he has an issue with. But then at the same time, he's 6. If you find a 6-year-old that has great impulse control, that kid done been here before. Something's wrong with that kid. You need to get him checked out. Um, so, there's certain battles you have to pick and choose what's important. Um, one of his things, and was because he's autistic, and also because there's different things, autistic and sensory. So like right now he has 2 brand new pairs of shoes at home. They're only brand new because he won't wear them. And I don't know, it's like a feeling. It's like once he breaks some shoes in, it's damn near impossible to get him to wear something else. Like I put one shoe on, he looked at it and he was like, no. And like try to kick it off. And I'm like, we gotta go. You're gonna put this other shoe on. We didn't. He left the house in his bare house shoes. And I was like, forget it. We're not getting out the car no way, so nobody cares. So it's figuring out what to like I said, to let go. Like he loves water. He loves playing in water. He loves doing things. And certain times I've had to get on him because he's done something potentially dangerous. Was boiling some water the other day for some spaghetti. My wife was doing something. I was in the bathroom. I came out the bathroom. He had put Papa Smurf and 2 dish rags in the pot of water because I'm just like, this is funny and low key kind of scary because it's like we have electric. So what if we didn't have electric and he got too close or those rags caught on fire? Ruined a brand new controller I had for my Xbox because he wanted to see what it would like to drop it in a water bottle. It's like just certain things that it's just like, like I want to get mad at you, but I know it's something, because sometimes you can kind of see him kind of fighting against it. It's like, he just can't help it. Another thing is him, as they say, stemming from something, like getting too excited from doing one activity. It's like it's a sensory overload for him, and it's scratching whatever itch he needs that you or I can, we can regulate, but he can't, and so he's just, stemming off whatever emotion or whatever is he's getting from it. And it's like, obviously there's something he needs and he's happy, but at the same time, he's getting too hyped up. He may hurt himself or break something. So trying to rein those things in. And also a tough thing is making sure that we're not holding him back. Because right now he's still not potty trained, but, and it's like, we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, you're wet. You take this off yourself. If you go number 2, you're starting to wipe, do certain things. He can put on his shoes, he can dress himself. And he's been able to do some of that for a long time. Like he loved, before, I've always worked not always worked overnights, but as far as he's concerned, I've mostly worked nights. And sometimes I would come home and he'd be ready. He'd be sleepy, and he'd be like, for whatever reason, he's like, I just want to ride around. So he would get his shoes, he would get his book bag, and he would whatever. and he would put his stuff on and then take my hand and walk me to the front door. And it's just like, when you want to, you know how to do this stuff. And then and so you have to fight. It's like, okay, it would be much easier if I just did this for you, but that's not helping him. It's, kids would get away with anything as long as you allowed them to. And so having to stop ourselves from babying him, because I'm a tall dude. I'm 6 feet. He comes to past my stomach. He's like almost at my chest. I just look at him sometimes like, I made you. You're like, and I just look at him just like, you're so freaking tall to be 6. And just look at him and just the different things he does. It's just like, yeah, you can do a lot of things that I'm not allowing you to. And it's never going to help you if I don't actually make you do it. So like, he loves being on a tablet, and sometimes it's easy just to do that. And thankfully, he's found Sesame Street, so a lot of those videos he's learning, he's singing along with them and doing things like that. So teaching him just little basic things like how to unlock the screen. It's like, it seems simple, but it's just like he's not reading, so he can't comprehend that. It's just like, well, just do this and swipe up and that. So let me see. Us doing this. Food. He is very picky about food. And because he can't talk, we have to figure out why he doesn't like something, or if he does like something, or when his palate completely changes. He used to love turkey sausage. My wife doesn't eat pork, so we don't eat pork. The only time I eat pork is if we're ordering pizza and I'm like, this is mine, this is yours. So, also that's a quick funny story. In St. Louis, we have a St. Louis style pizza called Emo's. It's a thin crust, just like no outer crust. It's like all the toppings are like straight to the edge. And it's like cut in squares. And they have like this blend of cheese, was it Swiss cheddar and provolone. It's kind of sweet. It's good, but he was used to pizza looking a certain way. My wife she told me the story. She bought the pizza. He was excited, opened the box, looked at it. It wasn't what he thought it was. And she was like, he literally looked at her like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? He opened it up, looked at her, closed the box, and like pushed the box out the way. But it's like he no longer eats the turkey sausage. What else is something? He doesn't like eggs for whatever reason. He used to like mac and cheese and different things like that. He doesn't eat that. He will kind of eat fish sometimes. And just trying to, right now he's loving popcorn, which is one of the words that he's learned. He'll say popcorn. It's like all his words are just like real fast like that. Right now he's eating my mom's cherries, like pit and all. Like he'll put it in his mouth, and he walked over to me and I took the stem out. I'm like, where's the seed? I'm like, I'll find that later, unfortunately. So, and thankfully he'll, the stuff he'll eat is pretty healthy. But right now he's liking a lot of snack stuff like chips, like little tortilla chips and different things like that. So trying to make him eat something that's actually sustainable and healthy, like a real meal. So.
Okay, so then those are all your kind of like pain points.
Yeah.
So then what are the joys? So like, what is it about him being Daniel and having autism that makes y'all's bond stronger, or the little perks that he has that are like special moments that you really enjoy?
Special moments. Huh. one special moment is when the first time I saw him pretend to be asleep. I took a picture of him. He just laid down. He had his eyes and he had a smirk. And the first thing that popped in my head is, who did you see doing this to make you like? Why was that a thought that popped in your head? And it sucks because I'll never know. I have a video. If I can, I may share it with you. We were actually here, and it was when he used to watch Charlie Brown and like, was it Charlie Brown or Dr. Seuss? One of the two. And I'm in bed watching it, and he used to take a shirt of mine out the closet, lay it on me, and then lay it on the shirt to fall asleep with me. And so I'm recording him, and he could have been more than 2 or 3. And him just walking, he has his pacifier, he's looking at the TV, he walks up to the closet, reaches up and like yanks one of my shirts off, and then climbs up in the bed and like puts the shirt on me and like make sure that it's out and spread, and he laid down on me. And just little moments like that, just little sweet moments to where it's like, I wish I could record this. Or like I wish I wish I had like a POV camera so that people can see just the different things, like just the little sweet things that, he does, and that, just those moments to where he's just he's sorry.
It's okay. Feel your feelings. Yeah.
Is I don't know. There's just so many little things. I don't know, because it's hard to explain, because there's like I said, there's so many things that normally you just kind of throw out the window, and it's like, okay, they're going to be different. They're going to be doing this, and certain things you kind of just like, okay. One of the things they taught us is to meet them where they are, instead of setting up goals that they can't meet and you can continuously being disappointed. It's like, meet them where they are. It's like, don't set them up to fail like that. So it's like, we take each thing he does, we're happy about it. And so when he'll do something sweet, like, or just something random about, I'm looking for my shoes, and he'll bring them to me. Or when he decides to feed you something, it's like, or when he's ready to go to bed, and he'll walk around the house cutting the lights off, and then take your hand and go to the bed, and and make sure that you have the covers on you. Like, since I work overnights, there's a certain, at a certain point, it's like, Daddy has to go to sleep, and it'll be like, okay, and he'll take my feet and put them in the bed, and I'll just sit there, and he'll cover me up, and he'll turn off the lights, and he'll close the door. It's just like certain little things like that. And it's just, it's just really sweet.
It is. It's so sweet.
All right, so the last question we have here, if there's more later, but our last question is, what tips would you share with others who are raising children on the autism spectrum?
I guess, like I said earlier, meet them where they are. And also remember, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just different. When you get those things in your head, I mean, it's not going to be easy, but like I said, meet them where they are, figure out, who they are, because you will see their personality. Just because they can't talk doesn't mean that they don't, that you can't interact with them. He can't talk, but he can let you know how he feels about something. And there's been plenty of times to where we've had like back and forths with him about something. It's like, Daniel, you need to do something. Or like, Daniel, huh? It's like, do this. And he'll do whatever. And I'll be like, I didn't ask you all that. Just do it. Like, it's like, I don't know what you said, but I know you're going to do so-and-so. And so just that they have personalities. Find wherever you are, find all the agencies, the grants, find everything that you can. As I say, you are your child's best advocate. Nobody else knows them like you do. Nobody else is going to fight for them the way that you do. So that's what you need to do as far as like teachers and different things, like IEPs. Certain they have, it's like a little educational program that the other teachers have to be like, okay, he's reaching his goals. And also, don't take it personal if somebody else has a different experience with your child than you do. As far as with schooling, they're like, okay, well, Daniel's at this level as far as problem solving the different things, but they are, sometimes you'd be like, oh, well, he does so and so, and it's just like a lot of things that they're testing for. It's not something he can express in the way that they're quizzing him. Like, he can figure something out. He figured out how to get out of the crib once, and I still don't know how he did that. I just know he was in there. I left for a second, came back, and he was out. And he was looking. I came in the room. He looked up at me. I was looking at him, and we were just looking at each other. I was just like, I don't know how you did that, but you're coming with me now. He got out of his car seat recently, and I'm just like, when did you do this? And you're going to get me arrested, so stop it. So, a lot of times, you can't take it personal. Nobody's calling your baby stupid. They're just doing the best they can with the resources that they have and the stuff that they know about it. Because apparently, autism is still pretty new as far as what we know about it. So, there's not as much data that they have. So some of the stuff they have may be antiquated or whatnot. So, you can't fault them for that. And as I said, try to just instill in them everything that you would normally a child. Like, one thing we think about is, as all parents, if somebody's doing something to your child, and because he can't talk or because he doesn't talk, it's even more difficult to catch whatever warning signs would be there. So I try to, for me, I've seen some other stuff that irritates me. I have no problem kissing my son. I will kiss my son until he tells me that he no longer wants me to, because that's my freaking son. And I want him to know that daddy loves him. And so I always tell him that. I hug him and tell him daddy loves you. He's starting to get that. Like, I told him I love him the other night going to work, and he said, love me? And I said, yes, I do. And so I will ask for a kiss or a hug. And if he doesn't give it to me, I'll say, that's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. And I will tell him, if you don't want to give somebody a hug or a kiss, you don't have to. And I try to tell him those certain things, and try to tell him different things, like, to say thank you, or he was doing something. I said, move. And I was like, no, stop. Daddy was wrong for that. Excuse me. It's like, when you want somebody to do something, you say, excuse me. Because every now and then he will say something, sometimes a full sentence, sometimes a fragment, as clear as day. He'll say it once. And he talks low. So if you didn't hear it, then that's on you. Like, he told somebody that he lost a tooth, and I didn't hear it. And she was like, he told me he lost a tooth. I was like, well, I just missed that. So, So yeah, that just still teaching them and trying to instill in them the same values and different things you would teach your child if they weren't autistic. Um, so I think that's it. I don't think I have any other tips for people. You know, I don't know everything, so I'm just my limited experience. So
I thought of a question. So, raising a child that is, has a quote unquote disability can be kind of draining for parents. So, it's gonna be a question. I'm sorry, great mind. So, do you and your wife have self-care routine, or do you both of you go to therapy individually, or what do you do to take care of yourselves?
that's one of the reasons why we go to that parent cafe is to be around other parents and talk to them about different things and just hearing some of the shared stories. There's like your kid does that too. It's like mine does that too, and just that. It is definitely draining. That's why I'm always tired because I have him. I have him. She works especially right now with everything going on. She works from home, so I get off of work, get home maybe about 6:37. Sometimes he's already up. Sometimes he's already up with her since like 4 or 5 o'clock, because that's another thing. They have trouble sleeping. So he'll wake up, he'll be with her. And so I stay with him to about 6:30, 7 o'clock until it's time for me to take an hour and a half nap. So I go to work overnight. So yeah, it is definitely draining. You you definitely need self-care, and also kind of remember that you're in this with your partner if you have one. um, One of the things that they do in the ARC, in the little parent cafes, they have us write a letter to ourselves, and we leave it there, and they mail them off, and then a couple weeks later you get this letter that you wrote yourself. And it tells you, to one, don't feel guilty for taking care of yourself. And this is just something I think people need to do in general, especially if you're a giving person. You have to take the time to take care of yourself, because if you don't take the time, if you don't take care of yourself, then you won't have anything to give to anybody else. Exactly. So that's definitely something important. And to, it helps to find him something. He loves swimming. He's actually kind of good at it. And to where it's like if they put the little floaty thing, he's going in like 6-7 feet of water by himself. The only thing is getting him not to drink the water because the chlorine, and it just makes me so sick whenever I think of it. I just want to gag, because it's like, you don't understand how nasty that is, and I hate that I can't explain that to you in ways. Oh, sorry, just thought about that's another difficult thing, having to explain something to them in a way that they can understand it, because he used to grind his teeth, and I tried to tell him to stop, but I had to think about what word to use to make him understand what I wanted him to do. It's like, because I said, stop grinding your teeth. And I was like, nobody says the word grind to him, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about. So having to say things in a way, to break it down in a way that he can understand it, and then kind of work back from this. It's like, stop grinding. It's like, stop doing that with your teeth. It's like, those are teeth. It's like, don't do that. And having to get something, because he loves chewing. He has chewed on so much stuff. It's like having to find different things for him to chew on, so that sensory thing gets worked on too. But to find something if you find something for them that they like to do, that will also give you time to kind of rest as well. But another good thing is to try to enjoy whatever little downtime you can. It's like find something that they like to do and then try to incorporate your off time within that. Like I said, he loves water, so I think we watched Aquaman or something, and he was really into the water effects and different things like that, and that was like a family movie night. I didn't like that movie, but I watched it because of him. And so, yeah, just finding, just like I don't know. I guess just like with you and your husband, like whatever I think you said he works a different schedule than you.
Yeah.
Whenever time you guys have that you're both awake, you're doing something, you find time within that set period to do something together.
Yeah.
And so that is, it's the same. But yeah, you definitely need, if it helps, to talk to people because it can be draining with anything, and you can, you if you can, I don't want to say make yourself depressed because that seems like it's dismissing depression, but you can put yourself in a bad place if you think about the wrong things long enough. And yeah, it's good to talk to somebody else now and then. My wife has a Facebook group to where she talks to a lot of other mothers with kids with disabilities. She actually had a meeting today to where she did that. And so, yeah, talk to people who also are going through the same thing, or even if they're not, somebody who will just listen to you. That's helpful.
Yeah, any more questions? Have you ever seen a show called Atypical on Netflix?
What's it about?
So it's about a high functioning autistic kid. He's like 18, and essentially he goes to therapy once a week, and his therapist basically gives him like tools and tips on how to start dating. So that's becomes his goal. He wants to start dating.
My wife watches that. She watches so much autistic stuff. Uh she likes The Good Doctor. Um to where it's just like, I'm so sick of this. And I watched something, I was like, yeah, that's Daniel. And like, because it was something to where they took away his license or something. And he just started repeating, like, I'm a good doctor. He's like, I want this. I want to be a doctor. It's just that kind of defiance and repetition. Um, that's something he does because he's running around upstairs right now. Something he used to do is just run back and forth. It's just like, I don't know why you're running, but this is doing something. So just let you have at it. But yeah, I want to say she has watched Atypical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
show. I mean, I didn't know a lot about people with autism, so I think watching that show helped me to learn a lot more. And it's good because he's obsessed with penguins, like that's his thing. He's obsessed with the Arctic in general. So, but it was just seeing like his quirks and his particular things, and I got invested in the show because his girlfriend, she would do a lot of stuff that was like invading his personal space, and I was like, ma'am, he is autistic. You do not go around touching his stuff. And it was just something I had learned from the show. Different things, because I knew some people have like sensory overload, and they're sensitive to like sounds or lights and things like that. I knew a handful of things because I have a friend that's works in the medical field, child life specialist. But watching that show really helped me to like learn a lot more and get a good perspective on it.
Like my mom, she fussed at me because about getting his haircut, and she's like, you just have that boy's hair any kind of way. And I'm just like, okay, because it's like I can explain to you how I literally have to. His first haircut was fine. When I tell you, I literally have to hold him, like like hold his head, because I'm guessing it's the feel of the clippers. I used to think it was the sound of it, but the lady had some clippers that you couldn't even hear. I didn't even know they were on. And he didn't want her doing anything. And so it's like those little struggles is like, yeah, being in their personal space, their their meltdowns. He will be fine one moment, and then he'll just have a complete meltdown. And you don't really know what caused it. You don't know if it's because he's tired or whatever. And he will, and sometimes you kind of have to let it go. And for the most time I do, unless he starts hurting himself. Like he'll start smacking his knees or he'll start scratching at his neck and chest. So I have to hold him, and he gets real tight. And like he'll cross his legs up. He crossed his legs up. So it's like they were literally like this. And it's like I picked them up and they were still, he is skinny and he is a strong little boy. And so those little legs like just stayed like this, like stiff. And I had to pry them open and just get him to calm down, just counting down and just trying to console him, whatever it was that got him upset, why ever he's upset. I normally just talk real soft to him and just count down. And mostly when I start doing that, I'll pat either his chest or his back. I'll count down from 10. And then when I get to 1, I just start back over. And he'll kind of calm down for a minute. And hopefully he doesn't go back. But yeah, stuff like that is kind of scary. Because like I say, don't want them hurting themselves. You don't know what's wrong. And as a parent, you just want to you just want to hold them and fix whatever is wrong with them, but you can't. And that's frustrating. But yeah, definitely, like I said, the repetition. For whatever godly reason, I did the Itsy Bitsy Spider for him. And he made me repeat that for like an hour. Because apparently, like her parents, okay. Do either one of you know like the little movements?
Yeah.
Apparently, like her parents had never, right? They never known that. It was like, oh, he called it. I'm like, no, that's just the little thing. He thought that was just great. And I finished, and he knows some signing. He knows more. He used to do this for crackers. Was it drink, eat, and there was something else. No more or all done. Well, she'll do that when he's finished. She's like, you want to eat this? All done. And he'll just walk off. But when I made him do that, he just kept more. It's just like, okay. Like the itsy bitsy, and he just tickled. So like, yeah, that repetition and just different, those little ticks that it's like, you don't know. And like, you'll find out they're different ticks, and you have to, you kind of have to go. It's one of those things that you just you got to let go, because it's like, it's not like they want to do it. It's just the way their brain is programmed. You have more?
I have one more question.
Okay.
How have you changed as like a person since basically how have you changed as a person after like raising Danny?
Well, he was born when I was in like my late 20s. So I want to say who I was already kind of set. But then again, as they say, if you're the same person that you were like 10 years ago or whatever, then something's probably wrong. I was already a pretty patient person. I'm real laid back. I can get loud and I can get upset, but even then, most of the time, my upset is distance. It's like, I'll just distance myself from you. I'd rather just leave than keep going back and forth with you about something. He has helped me even more with that patience. Because like I said, you have to just be like, okay, this is what it is. We're gonna have to just go through this. You're gonna play with these blocks. You're gonna do this, or you're gonna cry, or you just do something. Uh, uh, I'll also say probably accountability, because a lot of times I've had to, as I say, I've gotten mad at him that I had to stop and be like, if you were watching him like you're supposed to, he wouldn't have did that. Like he was messing with the, like I say, he loves water, and we have a drain in the basement in the laundry room where the water pumps in, like I said, from the washer, the hot water heater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something else. I was thinking of hot water cornbread for a reason. I was like, don't say the wrong word. And other sludge and crap. And he was playing in that. And I'm pretty sure he probably put some of that in his mouth. I know I came downstairs and his hands were black in his mouth. And I just yelled at him. Because popping him in the leg, I rarely hit him. He doesn't really trip off that. But the times I've made him cry is because I've yelled at him. He's very laid back too. He's very passive. Like I remember once a kid pushed him because of something. He just kind of got up and just went on about his things. Like he's not really, a fighter. I'm like, I'm cool with that. My wife is, and she's like, he needs to learn karate or something. I'm like, don't be trying to beat these. She almost beat that kid up. I was like, baby, we can't go to jail. So I came downstairs and he did it, and I just yelled at him. He was upset, and I had to stop. And like I said, it was just like, okay, you know how he is. You should have been down there with him. There was no reason for you to have left him down there by himself. For whatever it was you were doing, it could have waited. This happened because you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. And so it's helped me with that, to hold myself accountable more. I guess kind of be more loving. And how to express that love, because my mom and dad were divorced before I had any memories of them together. And so I remember like the first night home with him, I kind of broke down crying, thinking about, I never want you to ever have to question if I love you, or ever have to question, is daddy going to be there for me? It was so hard. Like I told you, like they used to come to the house to do therapy. At that time, he had a lot of anxiety about me leaving. Like I would have to go to work and I would have to leave through the back, because if he saw me leaving, he would have a whole fit. Like he used to not be able to not be around me. And so I will always, like, the last thing I'm thinking about when I leave the house would be like, especially if he's like calling for me, would be like, he thinks I abandoned him. He thinks that he needed me and daddy walked out on me. And so having to struggle with that thought, because I'm always thinking about crap. My brain I'm thinking about, probably 95% of the time, I'm thinking about just random stuff in my head. And so that's the thing I had to think about, and had to push that out of my mind and be like, okay, so how do I show him that I do, make sure I do show him that I care for him, to try to do that. Showing love differently. Like I said, showing patience, because I show that with him, but then you can also translate that to doing it for other people. Showing that to my wife, showing that to my mom, sister, whatever. Having that same patience and that same consideration to other stuff for other people. It has also made me less tolerant of certain people, like a certain person that's in the media who supposedly has mental health issues, but they aren't taking them seriously. And I'm just like, as the father of somebody who has that type of thing, it angers me the way people just kind of throw that around. It's like, oh, they have mental health issues. And it's just like, the fact that you came out and told me, okay, so that means that you know about it. So that means you need to act on it. And when you don't, and then when something happens, it's just like, oh, that crazy stuff I did and said, that's because of my mental health issues. I'm like, F you, you just, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have been less tolerant on that type of stuff, because I think that it's doing a disservice to the people who actually go through that, and you're making it seem like it's something you can turn on and off, and it's not.
Anything else? I got nothing else. I am done. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've given enough long-winded answers.
Yeah, that was good. That was all good stuff. So thank you, Carl, for joining us on the Hey Sissy podcast.
Yes, thank you.
So tell us where people can find you and your stuff.
Okay. My little spiel. You can reach me at Bold Expressions on both Twitter and Instagram. That is Bold Expressions on both Twitter and Instagram. BLD Expressions. That is BLD Expressions on both Twitter and Instagram. You can also hit me an email at ctl6985@gmail.com. Once again, that is ctl6985@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the Hey Sissy podcast.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hey Sissy podcast, and you can always leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can send us an email at heysissypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.